Josh Rubin today from East West Healing Improvements. What I want to talk to you about today, and I am 100% serious, is I want to talk to you about your vagina. Yes, I want to talk to you about your vagina, but I'm being 100% serious. So put all the jokes aside. What I'm seeing in our society from the clients that we work with is that most people think if they stub their toe, if they have an infection, if the 911 tower is going to fall, that if you can take probiotics, you're actually going to save yourself. If you have a cold, take probiotics. Well, every naturopath out there says, oh, you have a gut problem, take probiotics. I'm having trouble digesting my foods, take probiotics. There's a problem with this. If you really understand the body and just how the body works, just taking probiotics a lot of times masks specific things. And a lot of people say, oh, when I go on them and I actually feel better, and when I go off them, I actually feel worse. Well, that's a sign that you're actually kind of band-aiding over a major issue. Now, I'm not going to go into all the things that you want to take this far, but really what I want to touch upon is I'm finding via lab testing that most people are overdoing taking probiotics. The most common one is Lactolybacillus. Now, there's many factors that contribute to this, or the issues I'm going to talk about. So when a baby's born actually through the vaginal canal or through being breastfed, if they have a C-section, the baby's actually fed mostly bifidobacter, and that actually inhibits the large intestine, and then when they start to eat solid foods, the lactolobacillus actually inhibits the small intestine. Well, lactolobacillus in our society, that's the probiotic that most people will take. They go to the store, they buy Lactolybacillus acidophilus and all the other different strains that are out there. So if we look at this, we have to make sure, we have to understand what's going on in your gut. Do you have too much bifidobacter and not enough lactolobacillus, and you do need it? Or do you have too much lactolobacillus and not enough bifidobacter, which is really, really common because of lack of breastfeeding and overconsumption of supplements, that you actually need the bifidobacter to bring your body to regulation? Now, the first thing is understanding why you're taking these. Most people don't understand what probiotics do. Well, probiotics actually prevent the overgrowth of harmful bacteria. They help to detoxify with specific toxins. They actually help to produce vitamin K, B12, and folic acid. What else do they do? On and on and on. They actually help the enterocytes of the large intestine and small intestine to produce butyrate, which is food for the colonocytes in that area, which actually helps to keep a healthy gut. And they've shown that the decreased amount of butyrate in the large intestine is actually one of the major causes of colon cancer. So, what is lactolobacillus? I mean, that's the question. People are taking it, they don't even know what it means. And what I'm finding is most people are overtaking it. We see on people's labs lactolobacillus levels that are just way off the charts, and you talk to them, and I've been taking probiotics for about a year. Oh, I drink kombucha every day. Well, just because it's healthy doesn't mean you want to do it every day. Too much of anything is not a good thing. So lactolobacillus is actually part of a major group of lactic acid bacterial group per se. And you've seen my YouTube clips on people with, let's say, candida infections. I think it was my last one or the one before this, that they don't break down glucose into lactic acid. The glucose is broken down into acetaldehyde and ethanol, which causes overgrowths. Well, too much lactolobacillus in the body actually causes the overproduction of what's called D-lactate, or what they call D-lactate acidosis. This is a systemic acidosis in the body. And a lot of the times, what happens is and the reason I call this love your vagina is because the vagina is actually inhabited by many different strains of Casey, Fermentium, and many, many others. And babies get this through the vaginal canal. So I've said before, the healthier you are, and the healthier your gut, the healthier your baby is, and the healthier your baby's gut's going to be. And the same thing with breast milk. If you're feeding your baby breast milk and you're breastfeeding, well, the healthier you are, the healthier your baby, and the healthier your baby's gut. So you have many different strains of lactolobacillus in your vagina. That's why actually vaginal birth is much more beneficial for a child, because these fluids have lactolobacillus. They have what's called secretory IgA, which is your first line of defense in a lot of your salivary glands in your gut, in your respiratory tract, your conjunctive of your eye, your bronchial tubes, your skin, your vascular system, on and on and on. They actually help to fight against foreign invaders. So it's super, super important. Well, they've shown that when you overtake probiotics in time, if you keep going up and up and up, and you don't cycle on them, off them, or if you don't need them, you're taking them, they actually produce, because it's a part of the lactic acid bacterial group, you actually will overproduce what's called D-lactate. This D-lactate causes systemic acidosis, and they've shown that it actually creates systemic acidosis in the vagina. So you start creating the acidic environment, or more of an acidic pH environment in the vagina, for a lot of different bacterias, microorganisms, and candida to overgrowth. And I'll leave you a list of them. Gardnerella vaginalis, Prevotella, which is very common. You see this in a lot of people's mouths. Peptostreptococcus, Mycoplasma hominis, Uroplasma, can't pronounce that one, and many others. But the bottom line is, the candida overgrowth, the bacterial overgrowth, all these things cause inflammation. Inflammation can cause systemic inflammation, can lead to yeast infections, could lead to painful periods, and all those symptoms that are actually correlated with systemic acidosis. And you can do more research on that on your own. I don't want to go into that. But the bottom line is, we have so many people overtaking probiotics, and they take them and they take them and they take them because they think it's the end-all be-all. It's not. You can actually create a problem from overtaking them. So I guess the lesson learned is, first off, you should really do a lab or work with someone, or understand maybe if you were breastfed or vaginal birth or cesarean. Because if you weren't breastfed, I can almost guarantee you have low bifidobacter, and you actually need more of that. If you were breastfed and you had a vaginal birth, you might have actually normal amounts. I mean, I can actually contend to this. I just did a lab test on myself because things just aren't feeling that well. And I can tell you the last time I took a probiotic was probably, and the only time I've taken it my entire life, was probably 5-6 years ago. And my Lactolybacillus and bifidobacter levels are actually, they're high, but they're within the norm. And I haven't taken the stuff. So if I actually started taking it because someone sells the supplement trying to make money, and they don't really understand the human body and how it works, and they don't understand supplements, that could actually create more of a problem. And in my opinion, that's what I'm seeing. People with chronic joint pain, chronic fatigue, chronic digestive issues, cycle issues, migraines, asthma, respiratory issues, things like that, chronic candida overgrowth, is because at some point in their life they overdid probiotics, or they're drinking too much kombucha and they don't need it. So hopefully you've learned something. Check out our website, eastwesthealing.com. Love your vagina.